2020 will be remembered as the year of digitization, accelerating the need for digital skills. COVID-19 has presented one of the most formidable challenges in recent history to governments, businesses and society. The pandemic marks a historic moment that has fast-tracked the acceleration process for digitization throughout society. For more on this discussion, we're now joined by Faye Tessendorf, the Managing Director of executive search firm Homecoming Revolution, for more insights. Faye, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us this afternoon on SABC News.
Thanks, Flo. Thanks for having us.
You know, digitization and moving forward can never ever be, a bad thing. But, one thing I do note is that often it does increase the already large inequality gap in society. I mean, we saw that this year, particularly with, school learners, for example. How do we move forward, but also trying as well to bridge that gap? And I suppose this is where teaching of skills comes through.
Yes, sure. So we obviously are exposed to the more corporate side of this learning. We have seen it in schools. I'm a mum myself, so I think all of us, when COVID hit, us mums panicked with the whole notion of homeschooling and digitalizing our kids and giving them accessibility to these platforms. And it's no different to the workforce. So, in corporate, we've seen a mad rush for digital talent, digital skills gaps. And with that comes massive opportunities for corporates to get involved with skills training, upgrading people's responsibilities in terms of giving them opportunities to really create more of a hybrid role. So, where they wouldn't have necessarily had to be tech savvy in their previous roles, there is no escape now. Everybody needs to be a tech expert and everyone needs to upskill themselves digitally.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the main industries that are sort of needing a digital talent as a country we're moving this way, and there is this need to fulfill the demand in digital skills? I was just thinking in terms of digital skills becoming more and more paramount, are people becoming even more aware of the space and opportunities that this may present? I mean, we kind of go into the industries that might, in a few years, become irrelevant and not needed anymore. And I wonder if people are really kind of looking, instead of saying, oh gosh, I'm being left behind, kind of looking at what this space has kind of created, the opportunities that this has now created for us.
Yes, I think as Africans, we are actually particularly blessed in this area because we are used to innovating ourselves. We have a natural pioneering spirit where we're always kind of seen as the market that's been dragging behind. COVID has really helped us leapfrog and fast track ourselves as much as possible into this digital space. And in fact, Homecoming Revolution usually brings back, and our whole value behind and our ethos behind our business was repatriating African skill back to the continent. Now we are virtually repatriating the skill. So the skill is out there and we are virtually getting people accessibility to top Africans abroad who may be in a mature market like a New York or a Dubai or a London, and they're able to virtually repatriate that skill back to Africa to help smaller businesses, SMEs, entrepreneurs on the ground really establish themselves and get ahead in this new digital world. I think it's a huge opportunity for us to almost learn from these more mature markets, learn from their mistakes, certainly that they would have been trial and erroring for the last 5 to 10 years. And South Africa particularly has managed to do this quite successfully, where we are leapfrogging all those mistakes and going straight into this very fast track gig economy. We've got a lot of contract workers coming in where people aren't necessarily signing up for a permanent contract with a particular employer anymore. Now people are finding that they've got the opportunity to work for between 5 and 10 different employers in smaller contract roles and still get their significant earnings, but by doing project work as opposed to full-time employment, especially now with the flexible working.
Yeah. Faye, what should companies be looking into in terms of addressing, this need to prepare the workforce for the digital economy and where things are going? Sometimes, especially now when, there's retrenchments and, some people's positions might not necessarily be as, and I hate to use the word, be relevant for where we are going. Is this an opportunity then for companies as well to kind of upskill people? Not everybody will be excited about the fact that, we're moving to this digital era. Unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. And what should companies be doing to kind of not, leave people out and kind of make it something that people kind of want to get into?
Definitely. So we're seeing this across all of our clients. So whether it's your FMCG, your consulting clients, your retail, all of our clients out there are having to upskill their staff. Yes, there will be those that are naturally left behind, that are happy to opt for a voluntary severance package, for example, if they're not willing to be creative and pivot themselves. But this is a huge opportunity for each individual to look at themselves, how they can pivot their skills and transfer those skills into a more relevant space. And it is a huge opportunity for corporates to be incentivizing talent to do hybrid roles. So where you may have possibly had 5 different employees working on 5 different particular job descriptions in the past, you've now got 2 employers who are able to really have a multifaceted approach and targeting each of these roles in a project space. So they can really almost chop and change their skill set that they would have created over the last 15, 20 years if that's been their core responsibility, and now lend themselves by almost mentoring the younger, more junior staff that are coming up within the organization. So it's a huge opportunity for mentorship and also for the mentees to be looking at what they can give back in terms of the skills transfer. So I don't think necessarily the more mature workforce is going to be irrelevant. I think the skills that they've gained over the last couple of decades is extremely relevant, especially from an EQ and resilience perspective. These are the people that have really forged these businesses and set them apart and been a huge part of their history. Now it's an opportunity for them to be creative and really pivot that skills into a more transferable space. So I think huge training programs are going to come up with all of our corporate clients in the next year or two. We're already seeing huge budgets being extended for learning and development programs, night school, and really making it accessible for employees to be able to learn on the job.
Faye, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your input. Interesting indeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.